Welcome to the M2 podcast. I'm your host, Michael Anthony. My co host is Kyle Heath. We're over here just hanging out. We're covering this week's news, reviews, everything you want to know for games. We're talking esports and personalities, just general gaming industry stuff, new and upcoming games, and technology innovation. Kyle, what have you been doing this last week, man?
Oh,
How you been?
dude. I've been living good, Mike. You want to know why?
Oh, yeah. What's going on?
I'm getting around some other games coming out this fall, right? And the
Yeah,
biggest one this week, Cyberpunk DLC, got the
that's
nice
right.
little drop ski. Um, but I took the liberty, pun intended, of actually replaying the Cyberpunk 2077 game in its entirety. Um,
I remember you messaged me and you said it's going to take you at least like 1 to 2 weeks to actually get to the new Phantom Liberty, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking that estimate's probably like a week now at this
Oh,
point,
okay.
but because I've been playing pretty much every day for the past few days, and I'm like already halfway through the story, so um, I expect probably by the end of the week I'll be done with that, and then be moving on to Liberty, hopefully over the weekend. Phantom Liberty, hopefully this weekend or early next week, but yeah, man, I'm playing the game, and it's I just like the biggest thing I'm realizing when I'm replaying is how much I just like forgot about the game, because I mean it's been almost 3 years since I played it, so like
Sure.
I'm kind of like re-experiencing it, and a lot of the stuff was like I don't remember this part, or like I don't remember this section or this mission, so it's interesting to kind of it's like I almost have a fresh perspective again on some of the games, so it's nice to replay. But and I mean, the biggest thing, obviously, a lot of the bugs and everything are ironed out at this point, right? So it's
True.
like I'm not. There's no. I remember like the most annoying bug I faced. I think when I originally played it on launch was like sometimes the dialogue would just bug out, and so throughout a mission, like characters would just repeat lines and stuff like that. And it's just like, and it was just like pointless. And you're just like, it just pulled you out. It's like one of those things. Like it's one of the bugs. It's one of those bugs that are kind of like subtle but deadly in a sense of like,
Oh, I totally
it
get
it
that. Yeah.
doesn't seem like it would be much of an issue, but then you're playing and you're just like, this is like reminding me that this is a game, and I know it's like the whole idea, right? But it's like, immersion's like huge, especially in RPG. So um trying to stay immersed is a huge thing, and I feel like, a bug like that takes you out of it. But yeah, I mean, I haven't run into anything like that. The only bugs I've really ran into were like a couple like visual things every now and again, like someone either walking through another person or like walking through an object or something like that. Um,
Yeah.
but like I've only ran into like maybe a handful, and every time it's kind of just like a chuckle, and then I'm just like, oh, that's funny, and then I just move on. But yeah, I mean, overall, I mean, I forgot how good this game is, and I'm glad that it's in a state now where it's like, I feel like I can really experience it without having to worry about running into a ton of bugs or anything. So excited to continue playing. Hopefully, I'll finish it soon and move on to DLC, because from what I saw, the DLC is like pretty much another game almost in length. So it's like
It's
definitely want to
wild.
get to that. But yeah, so I mean, I don't know. That was like all the gaming I think I really did this week was kind of just diving into that world again, which I've been having a lot of fun.
Oh, nice. That's kind of low key for you.
I
You
know.
well, like the last couple of weeks, you've been jumping around games and grinding. So to
Yeah,
hear you're only on the one, I mean, it makes sense. It's
yeah.
it's a pretty demanding game.
It is, and it's just love the RPGs, so it's
Facts. Yeah.
very immersive. But I know I saw you on Rocket League yesterday. I'm pretty sure on the little Discord
Dude,
notification on the
if
Discord
you
banner.
saw me if you saw me on Discord online, I was playing Rocket League pretty much the entire time. Like, you can do the game overlay or like status.
Yeah,
So yeah, I told you last episode I was I got placed like low diamond one, and then I just started grinding. Dude, I was on a nutty like streak of wins where I think I was maybe like 2 wins away, probably about 2 wins away from making it back to champ. And of course, because like skill-based matchmaking is a thing now, I I got the worst teammates possible against a 3 stack, and like they were smurfing as well, so they were already like champ or grand champ level. You could just tell because you're like so used to like playing against your peers at the same level that when somebody comes in that's just astronomically better than everybody else in the lobby, you're just like, what's going on here? And you guys are through like a 3 party, and this is basically looking like a brand new account.
yeah.
So yeah, I'm not hard stuck, but I am in a situation where I gotta make no mistakes and hope I get in a good position where my teammates can help. That's basically where I'm at. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna get to Diamond and then probably go back to story-driven games. Like I meant to go back to Diablo, didn't do that. I meant to go back to Cyberpunk because of the DLC, didn't do that. So just playing Rocket League and just playing. I played Halo 2 Classic on the OG Xbox. It's still hooked up like underneath my desk right now.
Oh, nice.
Um, Playing some X-Link with everybody, and I did surprisingly not bad. So it felt pretty good.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
I thought I was gonna get smoked, so to do better than what you expect is always a good time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Oh,
Yeah.
all wicked
But that's
gaming,
basically
baby.
what I've been doing. Yeah. You wanna get us into the first topic of discussion
Yeah.
for this week?
Kind of a downer, like a little bit. But
It is.
I think it's
We kinda called it too, didn't we? Not
I think-
necessarily this particular publisher or developer, but just the way the gaming industry's been headed
yeah.
with
Yeah.
layoffs.
It's very true. Well, what Mike is referring to is that we got this article from game developer Blizzard lays off several Hearthstone, Hearthstone, I don't even know how you say it,
I think you said
developers.
right. Hearthstone.
Yeah, developers after restructuring team. One laid off employee has been with the company for 18 years. Oh,
That's
man.
tough.
Dude, that is rough. Blizzard Entertainment has laid off a number of developers on the Hearthstone team after what is apparently a result of internal restructuring. News first spread via tools engineer Hunter Curran, who posted on LinkedIn that the games team is apparently being restructured and his role is no longer needed. Senior producer Joe Belosic, I think I was trying to like figure out his name before
Yeah.
the show, but I already forgot it. Senior producer Joe Belosic also posted about his departure on LinkedIn. According to Kotaku senior reporter Ethan Gotch, Belosic and Curran were among 10 developers laid off by Blizzard. An Activision Blizzard spokesperson confirmed the layoffs to Gotch and game developer, stating that layoffs were a result of organizational changes to the Hearthstone team, and that a small number of roles had become redundant as a result. We want to thank these employees for their many contributions, they concluded. Said the restructuring would be taking place in advance of what is expected to be the successful acquisition of Blizzard Entertainment parent company Activision Blizzard by Xbox manufacturer Microsoft. It's unknown if the changes to the Hearthstone team were made specifically because of the impending acquisition or in a routine corporate reorganization. This is the latest of Activision Blizzard woes. Activision Blizzard has spent the last 2 years facing a barrage of complaints by current and former employees, such of which escalated into a lawsuit filed by the state of California alleging a culture of sexual harassment and discrimination. The company settled a lawsuit filed by the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission over such claims for a sum of $18 million. Oh, baby. I mean, I don't know, like, if we really, like, ever, like, covered a lot of that information about all that, but yeah, it's like Activision has been under it for quite some time.
Yeah, it's been going on. Those lawsuits have basically been going on for the last like 3 or 4 years, just getting way out of hand. I know people that are basically die-hard World of Warcraft players who have stopped playing the game because of what came of these lawsuits.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's bad. It's like some of the stories, man, are like horrific.
Yeah. Yeah, no. Jeez. Others would lead to the unionization of QA departments as subsidiaries Raven Software and Blizzard Albany. Unionization efforts at the publisher slowed down in 2023 after a failure by employees of subsidiary words. I don't even know what that
Proletariat.
proletariat. I don't even think I've heard of that. To successfully unionize, a process that employees said was a result of union busting tactics from management, and management said was a result of aggressive tactics by Communication Workers of America. But even without unionization, employees have loudly pushed back against decisions made by company management. A February all hands led by Mike Ibarra. Let's say that Ibarra. I feel like if it's like the Y before the B, it's like E. You know.
I would have said Wybera, but I think you're right.
That sounds like, I don't know if it's like
know.
I would say it's French, but that's it's probably not right. Mikey Barrett left Blizzard employees fuming over the company's strict return to office policy. Comments that seemed to degenerate. That's not it. Anyway, the role of the customer service and QA positions and the sudden declaration that employees would only receive a portion of their profit sharing bonuses. Our response to layoffs on the Hearthstone team appears to be muted. It's yet to be seen if any kind of labor action will follow this series of surprise layoffs. More people getting the boot, Mike, for who knows, seemingly interesting reasons, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like really surprised at this point. I feel like everybody's doing layoffs, you know? At least in the gaming space, like especially esports teams, orgs in general, they're doing massive layoffs, and they have been for the last like 2 years. And like economists have been saying that with interest rates going up, more and more people are going to be getting laid off. And I feel like a non-vital kind of market of like gaming, you know what I mean? If that makes sense. Essential, I guess, is what the term was during the pandemic. They might be hit first because it's more of like a consumer entertainment kind of good. Um, but to hear it's happening to Activision after they're getting bought out makes you kind of wonder, like, what were the redundancies to lay off somebody that's been with the company for 18 years? That's like a long time.
That's a very
That's
long time.
so that's long enough to be like driving, get ready to go to school, like get ready to go to college, kind of
Yeah, literally.
like full grown adult. 18 years, man,
Mm.
into a company like this, and then they lay you off, dude. It's tough, really
Yeah,
hard.
for real. You better hoped that person prepared, because it just proves
Oh,
that anything could happen,
oh, for sure. I think it's one of those things where like yes, they're getting laid off, game developers are, but it's such a skill. It's like almost like a trade skill in a way where they're going to be able to find a job pretty much anywhere else
Yeah,
afterwards,
yeah,
you know?
definitely.
It's not like their job is like their whole industry is disappearing. I don't think that. No.
Yeah,
I think they'll be okay.
yeah,
It's just really terrible to get laid off.
yeah. I mean, it's honestly a good analogy. It kind of is like a trade. I mean,
Yeah.
it's so
It
like
definitely
sought
is.
after, and there's so many companies out there looking for like experienced devs. So yeah,
Yeah.
for
Coding is basically a
sure.
trade, like artists, and that's what gaming is in a way. Those two
Yeah,
things together.
yeah, it sure is, Mike. It sure is. Um, yeah, it's crazy stuff. I'm sure we'll hear more reports about layoffs and whatnot. It's an unfortunate reality. I feel like a lot of these companies are facing, especially with the economy and everything. So
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, it's true.
sucks to see it as a Blizzard dev.
Yeah, especially like it. Okay, it is kind of shocking at this point if you think about it. With them getting purchased by Microsoft, you think they would hold off on hiring and like layoffs
Yeah,
until that deal was fully and like gone through
yeah.
the
Which I guess
acquisition. So
I guess could be more proof to the fact that it's possible that it's probably just like a restructuring that they were considering anyway, like aside from the acquisition. So it's not really necessary. The acquisition isn't necessarily the reason for it, but yeah. So
yeah, you know, I know from experience where working in companies where they go off and they buy smaller companies and they purchase and bring them on. What they try to do is like if you purchase another company to bring them into your organization, your umbrella, you want to have your original workers work on what they were working on. So maybe it's like a culture thing too. Like to integrate people, you got to get rid of some people that don't fit the culture of the company anymore. I don't
yeah,
know. That's way too deep into like an HR perspective, human resources perspective,
yeah,
but that I'm capable of answering.
yeah.
Yeah.
Could be possible though. But no, not saying it isn't. So yeah, it
Yeah.
could be a lot of
I'm
different
just
things, right?
yeah, I'm just brainstorming.
Yeah.
Internal restructuring is the official statement though.
I don't know. All I'm saying is hire Mike, dude. Mike knows what's up when it comes to
Uh,
structuring a business, right?
or I'm just really good at BSing. One of the two, man.
Oh man, publisher is starting to BS a little bit with their titles. I
Oh,
mean, but
Electronic
it's
Arts?
yeah, they don't really have the rights anymore. So, but
Oh,
yeah.
dude, I don't even know where to begin with Electronic Arts. I think that's why you gave me this article. You're like, you're just
Well,
trying to get me fired up.
FIFA. I know you're a huge football fan.
Yeah, football. Oh, I should have worn my jersey. They won today.
Ah,
Everton did.
dang.
Such a shame. Let's pause. I'll be right back. I'm just kidding. Okay, so let's get started. This article is coming from Kotaku. It's coming from Ethan Gash, who we literally just talked about in the last article, which is pretty cool.
Yes, sir.
Um, so this is about EA pulls every old FIFA game from digital storefronts. PS5, Xbox Steam, and more lost older versions of the game ahead of the EA Sports FC 24 launch. This is pretty much all down to licensing because EA doesn't have the licenses for any of the teams anymore, really, or players, right?
Think so,
Or
yeah.
FIFA. It's just FIFA. My bad. It's just FIFA. Okay, let's get into it. He's probably going to explain. You can no longer buy last year's hit soccer game FIFA 23, nor any other older game from the famous Electronic Arts sports franchise, at least not digitally. The publisher has pulled every FIFA game that was previously for sale on the PlayStation 5, Xbox Switch, Steam, and Epic Games storefront. The move, first noticed by the industry analysis Maru NL, comes ahead of the launch of the EA Sports FC 24, the newest game in the series, which was rebranded earlier this year after EA abandoned the FIFA license amid ongoing renewal negotiations. So the news apparently broke on Twitter, or on X is now what it's called. And Maru NL tweeted out that EA's annual football game, now called EAFC, no longer sports the FIFA name in its title. All prior entities or entries in the series have been delisted from all major storefronts. Every FIFA title from 14 up to 23 can't be purchased anymore. FIFA 22 and 23 can still be played via EA Play, which is their subscription-based service. So, while some DLC packs for the games, which date back to FIFA 14 on modern platforms, are still available on the storefronts, the game themselves are either missing or don't show an option to purchase. On Steam, where FIFA 23 has accrued over 100,000 user reviews of a rating of mixed, a notice reads, as the request of the publisher, EA Sports FIFA 23 is unlisted so the Steam store will not appear in search. It's not clear if the games will return at some point in a different form or whether their removal will be permanent. EA did not immediately respond to a request for comment. FIFA games and now EA Sports FC come out every year with updated rosters, but with often minimal changes to the underlying modes and mechanics. EA Sports FC 24, which arrives September 29th, which is actually going to be at the time our episode is published. So check that out. It's out now. Is currently has a 76 on Metacritic, with Games Radar calling it the most playable version of the series in years. That's a bad. That's not that good.
Yeah, I feel like that's
You know what I mean? It's playable. What?
the most playable. That's
Okay. While Eurogamer called it business as usual. Okay, so I think we're understanding why they took all the other games off. So chief
optimistic.
among the improvements is a streamlining of Ultimate Team, the series' loot box mode where players collect packs of cards and then use them to construct hyper talented all-star squads. According to Games Radar, EA has improved the feel of the mode on the field and added an evolution feature for leveling up player skills as well as a mixed in-star female players, which I'm pretty sure is kind of new, who were previously kept separately. So Ultimate Team is the real reason many players shell out for a new version of FIFA every year, abandoning the game they paid $70 for just a year ago. And it's also been supremely lucrative for EA, which rakes in more money from microtransactions than the sale of the new games themselves, though apparently not enough to make the publisher want to pay the International Football Federation the $1 billion it was reportedly requesting to renew the FIFA brand. How
One
do you take
Billy.
it, man?
1 Billy.
One Billy. I hit you with a lot of information all at once right there. What's your take?
Yeah. Um, it's like gaming history, It's I feel it's kind of unfortunate that that these games are kind of like delisted. You can't really go back and play them. Then again, towards the end of that article, it makes the point of, these. I mean, it's cool. It's cool to look back and see kind of the older games, and I think you can go back to probably like 360, original Xbox.
Oh, yeah.
You can go and play a lot of those little ones. Those, if you were to go back to like FIFA, those are probably ones to go back and check out, right? But like on
Definitely.
the newer gen and stuff like that, I mean, you're paying $70 a year every single year for a slight update, like, and it's
Oh,
been that
yeah.
way for since like what 2014 probably. So it's like,
Yeah.
I
I was gonna
mean,
say it's 10 years of a repeated concept over and over again that they just update the graphics to and the mechanics stay the same.
right? So I
Even the
mean,
animations on most of them are the same.
yeah, I mean, so I think it's not that big of a deal that that the past games aren't necessarily available. And the fact that it's look at the end of the day, it's business, right? They come up with a couldn't come up with a deal. They wanted like $1 billion for it. And they're just like, nah, ain't worth it, fam. Like we're making so much money on microtransactions. It's not a huge deal, kind of thing. So I mean, yeah, it's not seeing without the FIFA brand, I'm sure it's very weird, at least for me, because like it's what we're so used to, right? Like seeing
Right.
FIFA 13, FIFA 14, 15, 16, like we're so used to that. So it's like to not see that now, it's like it's still the same game, right? So it's not like at the end of the day, it's not a huge deal. But yeah, I mean, I mean, I don't play these games really much anymore, like the sports games. It's just like not. I mean, it's an easy like one reason I don't play it is because like it could be an easy money pit, right? I'm not saying like I
Oh,
don't have like self control, but it's
100%.
like when I was playing FIFA back in the day, I wanted to buy packs badly for Ultimate Team. It's
Oh,
like, uh,
dude,
I don't know.
I got a buddy who does EA's Madden NFL, and he pays $70. No, he buys the premium one every year, which is like I think $150, and then he spends like another $100 on the cards and the loot boxes. Now, it's kind of pay to win because he does play a lot of online like tournaments and stuff. So he gets all of these like the best players, and he's also really good with the game. So he has a crazy win percentage. He destroys most people.
Um,
But it's still like, dude, you pay $250 for a game that you're gonna buy and do the same thing next year, you know?
yeah,
And I don't really get that. I think EA in general, when they don't update the mechanics, they don't really make the games better, and they're only really changing the characters, like the real life players and the rosters. It's like, come on, man. Like w- do something else, like make
right.
something new. And I think that's what they tried to do with Ultimate Team, but that's just more of a money pit. Because to have Ultimate
Yeah,
Team, you need to be paying money. You can't just
right.
unlock it.
Yeah, I mean, it's the thing. It's been proven that like good games nowadays take like years to make, right? So it's like when you got this
Yeah.
game cranking out one every year, it's like obviously it's not going to be a huge like breakthrough or anything, in terms of development. And it's kind of, I mean, it's like similar to COD, right? Like, I mean, we've seen the past like since COD 2019, every COD after that, that was like COD
Yeah.
2019, I think was a pretty big departure from what was previously done. But then every COD since then has just been a variation of that, essentially. So it's like,
Yeah, it's basically been the
yeah,
same thing
yeah, I
every time.
mean, it's like you find that formula, I guess, and you just kind of go with it. I mean, so
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of the same here. It's like you release a new Call of Duty every year. It's like, all right, whatever. It's the same COD, at least in my eyes. Like,
Yeah,
you get
that's
some,
how I feel about it too.
like, it's just,
Like,
yeah. And that's what these sports games are like, really. It's like, you just
mhm.
get a reskin, or, you get an updated roster. You're just paying $70 for that. I mean, I will say for something like football, I mean, if you really enjoy the game and you like want to understand, like, you want to understand like the X's and O's, it's a good place to start. Probably it's just like play the game
Oh
because you
yeah.
can like see all the plays and stuff. But I mean, I don't know. Outside of that, it's just kind of like it's a huge money pit for just buying cards and then playing, and then it's just like it's the same thing every year. So it's just like a repeat. So I don't know. Um, Interesting thing, but I mean, the fact that it makes sense that they had to pull the FIFA games because obviously it's not they're not paying for the license anymore and everything. So yeah, I think it only makes sense,
Well,
but I don't think it's gonna affect the games too much. I wouldn't imagine, right?
yeah, I'm gonna speculate on this one, and I think it's on brand of EA because of how evil they are, just in general of how their business practices. They aren't really consumer friendly, just about making the most money possible. So, what if they had the license to pretty much put FIFA on all the games from like the beginning of wherever FIFA soccer was? I think it was like FIFA 10, FIFA 09 or something. Maybe no, it's like N64. I don't know how far it goes. But until last year, till 2023, and the license was they get like some type of royalties every time they sell something. It's
Yeah,
not like indefinitely, I guess it is definitely. But the point I'm trying to make is they don't have to pay like a yearly thing just to have the FIFA on all their past games. It's like one time FIFA purchase for that game, right?
yeah,
So what if they took all their games off, like their most popular past FIFA games, off the shelves so that FIFA can make any more money off those games? Not because they need to pay like to have the FIFA brand, you know?
yeah. I mean, that
Like
would make sense. I don't know how the contract's structured, but I mean, it's a solid
I could see
theory,
them
right?
doing that like out of spite, really.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't hold against DA, you know. CA.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's certainly possible. And, you know, probably true. so yeah, it's interesting stuff, but yeah, I don't know. Good luck, you know, paying $70 in game.
Yeah.
Let's get it.
But how about we switch up to another studio that is pretty cool, but is also kind of struggling.
Yes,
Um,
sir. And it's in correlation with kind of some discussion we had recently. It's about Ubisoft. Got this from Video Game Chronicles. Tom Ivan wrote this one. He said Ubisoft believes game streaming will eventually take off, and it will happen very quickly. The company expects streaming to transform the business like it has done film and TV. Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot. I remember that name.
let's go.
His name is
we gotta win.
His name is very interesting, and I was like, I gotta figure out how to pronounce it. The dude's a CEO, you know? I gotta figure it out.
Facts.
But yeah, Yves Guillemot, if you want to say it with the accent, is betting on streaming, revolutionizing the gaming industry in the same way it's transformed the TV and film businesses. The Assassin's Creed publisher recently agreed to acquire cloud gaming rights outside the European Economic Area for all Activision Blizzard games released over the next 15 years. Should Microsoft's $69 billion acquisition of the Call of Duty maker go through, as is now expected? While not disclosing the finer details of the transaction, Guillemot told the Financial Times that Ubisoft's streaming deal will involve a one-off payment to Microsoft. Quote, when Netflix first said it was going to go into streaming, their shares fell a lot and they were widely criticized. Today we see what they have become. It's going to be the same with video games, but it will take time. But when it takes off, it will happen very quickly. Research group Omdia estimates the cloud gaming services will bring in $3.2 billion in 2023, representing 2% of total consumer spending on games, but that the figure will at least double in the next 5 years. We strongly believe in the next 5 to 10 years, many games will be streamed and will also be produced in the cloud, Guillemot said. That's what pushed us to go forward with the Microsoft deal. Boosted by the launch of increasingly powerful mobile technology, Guillemot expects game streaming to be embraced in emerging markets where console gaming hasn't established a major foothold. Quote, countries that need to progress very quickly often jump to new technologies and skip old methods of the old systems. So we think that these regions will move more quickly to streaming and the cloud than others. Revealing its latest handsets earlier this month, Apple stated its upcoming iPhone 15 Pro will be capable of playing console-quality games. One of the first games aiming to prove this claim is Capcom's iPhone 15 Pro port of the Resident Evil 4 remake, which is set to release this year, priced at $60 for a mobile port, Mike. Console quality, baby.
Hey. Kind of steep, but hey, I get it.
a little bit.
Yeah, I only get it because I recently saw on Twitter. Oh, your cat's pulling some stuff in the background. Yeah, on Twitter, somebody set up a projector off of their brand new iPhone, the one that like just released, what, like 2 weeks ago, week and a half ago almost.
Yeah.
And set it up to a projector and then not remote. They used their wireless Xbox controller to sync with the Apple iPhone, and then they were playing like Apex Legends or something on it. Something similar to that, like a battle royale.
Right.
And it looked smooth, and it's like, so that's why I'm seeing $60 port to a mobile device. It's like, if it looks like that, what I saw on Twitter, I could kind of understand it, maybe.
I mean, there's probably some people who never played it, right? And you're buying it on your iPhone.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's probably a huge market for that. Microsoft documents leaked last week, which we in fact covered on the show. If you didn't watch last week's episode, go back, please.
It's a good one.
I thought it was good journalism. I'm just saying, we rip the articles. You know how it is here.
Yeah, we wing it, but it's good.
Documents leaked last week listing cloud hybrid games as one of the main innovations being planned for the company's next-gen Xbox console, which could launch in 2028. The company's vision, according to the leak, is to develop a next-generation hybrid game platform capable of leveraging the combined power of the client and cloud to deliver deeper immersion and entirely new classes of game experiences. That's optimized for real-time gameplay creators and will enable new levels of performance beyond the capabilities of the client hardware alone. So yeah, I mean, this is, we heard recently one of the stipulations that that Microsoft, and one of the conditions that they made with the CMA was that they would offer streaming rights to Ubisoft, so that they can distribute them out. And ideally, Ubisoft will distribute out the rights to Microsoft so they can have it on their platforms and everything. But it's kind of a way to bypass some of the concerns from the CMA.
Mhm.
It was kind of confusing at the time. It's like it didn't really make sense, but I mean, it
Yeah, it
seems
was a
now,
very weird contract negotiation that they're saying.
yeah.
It's like,
But I mean, it seems like Ubisoft, it was kind of their idea from what it seems, and they think that streaming is really going to take off. I know, Mike. I know when we talked about this last time, I know you had some apprehensions about like cloud streaming of games and like the streaming era of games that we're coming upon of like true ownership, and do we really own this, the game, stuff like that. And I feel
yes.
like it feels kind of like scary to think that at any moment, like for streaming games off the cloud, that it's just access can be taken away or something like that, and then you're just screwed. Um, Unlike today, when you have Steam and these marketplaces where you download games to your PC and everything like that. I don't know. Do you think that within 5 to 10 years, cloud gaming will have such a significant impact that it's all anyone ever games on, and we're not even doing local downloads anymore?
I think if you would have asked me this a couple of years ago, I would have said no, but now I think it's almost a guarantee in the next like 10 years. I would say more than the majority of games will be like the majority of games on PC and consoles like Xbox and PlayStation will have the ability to be on cloud.
Yeah,
I would say the vast majority of them. And I think most people, when they get a high speed and like good enough internet to make it so it's almost seamless, they're gonna choose that option over
yeah,
the actual hardware, just because of a convenience standpoint,
yeah,
you know?
yeah. This kind of makes you think
So
at one point too. Um, like, do you think it's worth it? Like, say to give, because ideally, because it's kind of giving the developers, the publishers more power, right? To kind of have that,
oh,
cloud streaming.
100% yes.
It's giving them more
Yeah.
power. However, do you think it's worth the trade off of allowing more people to have access to video games and be able to play games that they otherwise wouldn't be able to on, like, say, limited hardware, or maybe hardware that's not as powerful as if you play it natively? Do you think that's a big enough advantage to maybe offset the potential harm that that could cause?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think we have to lay out like the pros and cons with that, because if you go 100% streaming where you don't really need the hardware anymore and you don't need used games anymore, because there won't be the ability to buy a used game on discount. You'll have to wait until the publisher, because they all have like their own launchers now, right? The own
Yeah,
studio or stuff like that, decides to do a discount to where you can make a deal or something. Whereas you're not gonna be able to buy peer to peer anymore. So what's the trade-off, I guess? Like less people need to have high quality equipment? I mean, that could be good.
yeah,
Get more people into gaming, makes things overall like if you're into competitive, that's great for competitive. The more people that are playing, the population gets better, you know?
yeah,
Just like a bell curve almost. And I don't know, it's just kind of a trade-off, man. I really like the ability to own like physical copies of the game. And I know I don't own like the intellectual property, but I get to see. I don't want everything in my life to become digital, you know? I want a physical association with products that I purchase sometimes.
yeah,
Like, there's something different about having a gift card, like a piece of plastic that has like $100 in it, and then actually $100 bill in your hand. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Where it's like I view it similarly to streaming and gaming. I think streaming should be optional, but you should always be able to buy a used game from any like retailer,
yeah,
you know?
yeah. It's very true. I think, like I'm just thinking about this like physical media. It'd be pretty
Yeah.
sick to have like some visual representation of like the cyberpunk game I have or something like that. Like I don't know if it's a cool case, or like a cart, or some like something that's like, oh, like you kind of
Collector's
just can just,
edition,
yeah,
dude.
exactly. Like
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, like you'd have to go with something like that, I guess. But yeah, like on
100%. Yeah.
PC too, it's like, I like having my digital game. But I think like in most of collector's editions, I think nowadays if you get it on PC, it's just like a download, but you get obviously all the other physical stuff that comes with it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, they like mail it to you at a different time.
yeah, right.
Um, I would be very upset if I got a collector's edition, I opened up the case, and it was like a key an what's it called? Activation
Yeah.
key? And I'm like, "Dude, what?"
Yeah. I mean,
I got the
that's
statue, the plaque, the poster, and you gotta give me the activation key and not a disc or, like, a cartridge? Come on, man.
yeah, literally. I mean, that's, you get stuff on PC nowadays. I
Yeah.
feel like that's most of it, but it's yeah, it's one of those. I mean, it's crazy to me that we're already moving to the point where it's like PS5s and stuff like that are requiring 2 disc games. It's like,
Yeah.
come on, like physical. It's like these games are getting so big where it's getting to a point where like it's outgrowing physical media. It's like we either need to adapt the physical media or just move all digital, which I think most developers are probably going to go with the latter, right?
Yeah, the latter is the easier option because you can sell more hard drives than and you'll get more return on your investment by selling hard drives than you will having the publishers make cartridges or CDs. It's more time consuming too. Just make a disk or not a disk, an SSD or M.2 drive or something where you can just read and write whatever you want and then have a queue anytime somebody purchases the game. Kind of like how Steam is. When you purchase a game and you uninstall it, you can reinstall it anytime,
Right. Yeah,
you know?
it's very true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, we're certainly moving to that kind of digital landscape. I mean, and it's even more apparent too because like a game is coming out the end of next month is going to be Alan Wake 2, and that's an all digital game, right? There's
Yeah.
no physical version of that. Um so it's already beginning. I mean, it's like
Oh yeah.
we're entering that, so it's interesting to see. But yeah. And like also like, side note with Alan Wake 2, like a lot of early impressions have been dropping. Heard a lot of good things, Mike. I'm just giving me hype. Just saying.
Heck yeah.
Heard a lot of
More
good things.
copium for you?
Exactly.
You're
It's
super copiumed
some
up over what was the last game that just came out?
Starfield. I was super copied about
Starfield,
that.
yeah.
Cyberpunk
Yeah, you've been
DLC.
enjoying it, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. Like Starfield,
Yeah, you grinded that for like a
enjoying
week and a
it.
half
Dude,
straight.
yeah.
You're
It's a good
going
game.
for it.
It's a good game that I will return to.
Yeah.
But yeah, right now I'm getting through Cyberpunk. But then all of October, I got Alan Wake 2 to look forward to,
That's facts.
while
Yeah.
I'm playing Cyberpunk and Starfield, yeah.
Yeah, we
So
we got a good closeout to the end of the year. But to go back to this original topic, I think cloud streaming is going to be the most valuable when it comes to mobile devices and TVs, like living room
yeah.
TVs.
Yeah.
I think there still needs to be a physical media for the more it's like a niche subgroup, I think. The more hardcore gamers. Like there's casual gamers and then there's people kind of like PC building, right? There's like casual PC gamers or PC builders where they have just like an air-cooled fan, like one or two fans that do kind of low grade stuff. And then there's people that spend 10 grand and they do a custom loop and then everything has to be brand new and they update like every 3 months, you know? It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
yeah, I think there always needs to be a physical media, but I really do think cloud gaming services are going to be an absolute pop for mobile devices and tablets,
Yeah. Yeah. And something like, I mean,
handhelds too.
yeah,
How many times have we
especially.
talked about that too?
Yeah. I mean, there's so many Steam games that are people wondering whenever Steam Deck compatibility comes out and
Oh
whatnot. And
yeah,
it's like, just stream it. If you can get like the internet,
yeah,
just like stream it. You probably won't have to worry about it. Yeah, but I mean, there's that too. I think for TVs, especially, like, got a glorious 65-inch that I love to play games on, and so
yeah.
X Cloud kind of works. I think it works, decent enough on it for now. But I think ideally, just having something like an NVIDIA Shield or just some sort of hardware that you can hook up to it, and so the TV doesn't have to do the processing. It's just this device, like right, this little device.
Yeah.
I think that would kind of be the future, right? And I mean, I think Xbox is working on a cloud streaming device, so it's like I'm curious to see kind of, when that comes out, what it'll be. But yeah, man, I think streaming is certainly the future. And that's kind of like, if it's just a little device that could stream high quality
Like
games to my TV and I don't have to spend $400, $500, then I'm all in. So,
like a Fire Stick. I think
yeah,
a Fire
something
Stick's
like
like
that, yeah.
30 or $40. You get just Amazon Prime subscription, then all of a sudden you can just watch whatever you want.
Yeah.
You know.
Literally, like Chromecast. Those Chromecast getting crazy too. So
Yep. It's a
good
fact.
stuff. A lot to look forward
We'll
to, but a
see.
lot to kind of question when it comes to cloud streaming games.
Yes, sir.
Something we don't have to question about anymore though, Mike. It's time.
Oh yeah. Okay, so we had a major release this week of Counter-Strike 2 is out. So this article is coming from Emma Roth, who we've covered multiple times from The Verge, and all it really has to do is there's a launch trailer for Counter-Strike 2. You can play it now. Go install it.
Literally.
So,
Yeah.
CS:GO is getting replaced after more than a decade of action now. That's Counter-Strike 2 has launched on Steam. Counter-Strike 2, the highly anticipated upgrade from CS:GO, has finally arrived. Valve announced today that it's launching CS2, which comes with some major updates like improved smoke grenades, redesigned maps, and improved network features. After years of rumors, Valve announced CS2 in March and opened up a limited test. The updated game is based on Valve's Source 2 engine, giving the game a much needed facelift, reworked audio, UI enhancement, and upgraded community workshop tools. There's even a new tick rate independent gameplay that Valve describes as a way for servers to know the exact instant that motion starts, a shot is fired, or a nade is thrown. You can download the 27 gigabyte CS2 for free from Steam, which is listing directly replacing the more than 10-year-old CSGO. All of the items you've collected in CSGO will be available in CS2, while stock weapons will also get an enhanced look thanks to Source 2 engine. Did you play a lot of Counter-Strike? CSGO?
I mean, I won't show my hours. I mainly because I don't know how many. It's very, and I'm not saying that as that I played a lot. I don't even know if I pushed like 40 hours, Mike, to be truthful. It wasn't that much.
So you're not even like a gamer,
Yeah,
man.
it's like I wasn't into it like
You're
that.
not even real,
I
bro.
probably, this is the thing, Mike. I guarantee you, this is kind of embarrassing to say, but I guarantee you I have more hours in Valorant than I do CSGO. Like,
Oh, it's like that. You're one of those guys. Okay. Let me see if I can actually find. I have on this Steam account, I have 108 hours of Counter-Strike, but really, I played a buttload on my first Steam account. I just
Yeah.
lost the password, along with like where I lost my YouTube password ages ago.
Jeez.
Playing on a laptop back then, it was rough.
Trying to see. I'm gonna see if I can check on mobile. Counter-Strike. I'll tell you. You know, I'll expose myself. You know.
Yeah, you expose yourself
All
while
right.
I continue
Dude.
to rant about Counter-Strike.
I was very close.
Oh, you found it already?
I was very close,
40?
Mike. 38.9.
69.
38.9.
Wow.
I was very close to 40.
That's like shockingly close.
Yeah, I was accurate. Yeah. But it's not that
Nice.
much, yeah. I just haven't played too much CS:GO. But yeah.
Well, it's a little bit more bare bones in comparison to Valorant, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of it.
Right.
And the game looks gorgeous. I've seen a bunch of demos. It's look fantastic. I don't know, man. It's Counter-Strike 2, CS2 has been hyped up for a long time now, and it's just really good to see it finally come out. I gotta, you know what? I should have hit update while we were recording so I can be good to go.
He's about to
I'm
jump
actually
in,
gonna
baby.
do it. I'm about to jump right in. Yeah, I used to like Counter-Strike is one of my games that I played forever. I mean, it's probably the second PC game I ever played. First one being Quake, and well, obviously I didn't play CS:GO. I played Counter-Strike Source, but I don't know. I think it's one of the best shooters ever made, if not the best shooter ever made. It still has a crazy, crazy audience, very, very dedicated esports scene, and it's just good to see that an update finally came after 10 years.
Yeah.
And I heard rumors, I think, was it you or Nick that sent us the X thread where somebody said they spent $40 million in like
there was, I think the thing was that like
the skins, right? The store.
Within 40 minutes, there had already been over like $40 million in like chest purchases and stuff. Like it was insane in just 40 minutes. It's like, you know, it's crazy. I mean, that was after the update. But yeah, I mean, to your point, I think I'd be very surprised if Counter-Strike was not the greatest FPS of all time. I mean, it's one of those games that even, you know, 20 years later, it's still got like 1 million players actively a day. Like it's just, it's timeless, man. And I mean, the best part about it, it's a very highly competitive shooter that a lot of people that has a huge skill ceiling. I can't even say that.
Skill gap.
Yeah, like, well, yeah, skill gap maybe. But like, it's just there's a lot you can improve on. There's a lot to learn, and it's like you don't need an insane computer to run it, dude. I was running it on my laptop like a few years back.
Oh yeah, super
like,
optimized.
Years ago with like getting like 100 plus FPS on like a dinky laptop. You know, it's like one of those games. It does not use a lot of resources.
Well, one thing to mention, only because it's like an anecdote. right? Where one of my buddies who was playing it today. Now he's online now, so I'm sure it's okay. But he was playing CS2 about literally 4 hours ago. Got an invite from one of his buddies, one of our mutual friends, and it crashed his computer and his computer turned off while the game was running.
Well,
So it might be a little bit more demanding than it used to be,
I mean,
but it's still going to be really good. I've never really, I got to say, like most Valve games are pretty well optimized,
yeah,
specifically Counter Strike games. So
yeah. Dude,
just get in there, play.
this thing, man, I have a feeling too. A lot of people like old CS players, or like old pros and stuff, will probably come back and play. I won't go as far as saying they're going to compete, but they're definitely going to come back and like be competitive with the game again.
Oh yeah. CS2, man. I think it's gonna have one of the most insane viewerships their first tournament back.
Oh yeah.
Like with this new title. You see Shroud's tweet, it got me excited.
Yeah.
He did a GIF from yes I say GIF. It did it from Keanu Reeves' character in
And John Wick.
John Wick. Yeah, when he's being interrogated, it's like people
back.
keep asking me if I'm back.
I'm thinking I'm back. Love that. Man.
I see that. I'm just like, I immediately, like, we send each other gifs all the time, right? With the Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah.
I'm not leaving. Then the whole crowd starts going ballistic. I saw that tweet. I was just like, yes, let's go, man. Shroud.
Yeah.
See, like, get the old band back together.
Yeah. I mean,
the whole roster.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be cool to see, right? It's one of the things. It's too like I almost forgot about the time when like Shroud came back for Valorant, right? And then it's like Sentinels like didn't really do much, at least from what I kind of heard and saw. It was kind of just like, like it was kind of.
He was bopping though.
I mean, yeah, he still has it. I'll say he still has it. It could have been like a team.
Never
thing,
lost
right?
it.
Like,
yeah.
It's like he still could compete at a high level. So I mean, yeah, I mean, if he came back to CS2, I mean, that would not surprise me in the slightest. And it'd give more people an incentive to watch tournaments, right? You get to see Shroud play, you get to see all that. Yeah. I mean, you get to see Simple, you get to see all like, I mean, come on, dude, you get to see like a bunch of goats play again, probably at least if not in competition on streams.
This Munzie guy that I just saw for the first time, I know he's been around the scene for a while, but I think he's like 17, 18. He just won, I think, G2 Esports. He just won in Cologne. Dang, I got a Cologne jersey. I'm struggling. I should have wore that on the stream next week. Next week, I'm wearing the Cologne jersey. Anyways, the whole point I'm trying to make is like there's still young and upcoming talent in CS:GO. So that game's been around for like 10 years. Most people think it's like just a bunch of boomers. Like most of the pros are in their early 20s. Like you need some serious commitment to actually get really good at Counter-Strike. But to see CS:GO now finally come out, something that I've personally been waiting for like 5 years, revitalize the community, bring everybody back. It seems to be great. Everybody seems to be enjoying it. That's going to bring a new audience too, which is going to be so cool to see people basically like maybe they've only played Valorant like you have. Aren't you going to try to like do CS2 now?
Yeah,
just like see what it's about.
I mean, yeah, at some point, right? Definitely gotta give it a shot.
It's free to play. You might as well give it a shot. You don't have to play ranked. Just do unranked, have some fun. Counter-Strike, kind of toxic. Can be. But they have custom game browsers that have a lot of different activities. You don't have to do comp stuff. There are other things to do. A lot of people don't really know that.
It's so funny. This is another thing I should probably admit. A lot of those 38.9 hours, I'm gonna be honest, like probably like at least 10, 15 are probably surfing. Yeah, like
I was like, you're 15. Surfing. Hey, I'll admit, like a lot of my hours are just playing gun game with my buddy at like 4 a.m. during the pandemic when I couldn't do anything. I was just like, just him and I staying up to like 5 a.m. playing games because we're like, well, like work is basically canceled. What are we gonna do tomorrow? Everything's closed. So to stay up all night is so unhealthy. But man, we had fun.
Yeah, I did some one-on-ones too with some buddies of mine too. Those are always fun. Just like hop in one of those like small maps and just like have a quick one-on-one. It's like, that's so fun. Man.
That's the point. You just gotta enjoy it. And I don't know. I'm really excited about Counter-Strike 2, and I appreciate you for letting me talk about it. You gave me this article, but you're gonna close us off probably with the biggest story of the year, and. I don't know. Is this bigger than Activision Blizzard finally getting approved?
I mean, possibly.
I think it is.
Possibly. I think.
Yeah,
man. So this dropped right before we recorded, like literally like an hour before we recorded. I was like, oh, okay, here we go. But PlayStation leader Jim Ryan is retiring after 28 years with Sony. This article comes from Emma Roth and Ash Parrish at The Verge. Jim Ryan took over as president and CEO of Sony Interactive in 2019 after starting with Sony Europe in 1994. Jim Ryan, the head of PlayStation and CEO of Sony, is stepping down. In a press release on Wednesday, Sony announced that Ryan will retire in March 2024, while Sony Group Corporation president and chief operating officer Hiroki Todaki will become the interim CEO of Sony starting April 1st, 2024. He said, quote, after 30 years, I have made the decision to retire from SIE in March of 2024. I've relished the opportunity to have a job I love in a very special company, working with great people and incredible partners, Ryan says in a statement. But I found it increasingly difficult to reconcile living in Europe and working in North America. I will leave having been privileged to work on products that have touched millions of lives across the world. PlayStation will always be a part of my life, and I feel more optimistic than ever about the future of SIE. Ryan has worked at Sony for 28 years, starting his career in the company's European branch in 1994, where he's held several leadership positions, including the head of global sales and marketing. In 2019, Ryan replaced John Codera as the president and CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment. During his time at Sony, Ryan most notably oversaw the launch of the PlayStation 5. While supply chain constraints made the console hard to find during and after the COVID pandemic, shipments managed to bounce back. In July, Sony announced that it sold 40 million PS5s. Gosh, dude, I forgot. Like, it's been that much
They're
already.
crushed
Ooh,
it, dude. They were
crazy.
killing it.
Yeah. Ryan has been a persistent figure in the battle between Microsoft and FTC over its plans to buy gaming publisher behemoth Activision Blizzard. Earlier this year, comments from Ryan surfaced stating that the acquisition wasn't about console exclusivity, contradicting claims Sony made publicly that the deal could negatively impact Activision Blizzard games appearing on PlayStation consoles. Todaki will become the chairman of Sony Interactive Entertainment in October of 2023, ahead of Ryan's departure. Once appointed interim CEO, Sony says Todaki will work closely with Sony Group Corporation chairman and CEO Kenichiro Yoshida, right, I think, and the management team
Sounds right.
of his management team of SIE to help define the next chapter of PlayStation's future, including the succession of the SIE CEO role. Oh man,
Jeez.
it's crazy stuff, dude. It seems like, yeah, I mean, it's interesting too that it's kind of, he lives in Europe, works in North America. I'm sure that man has been on many flights and is very tired.
Oh gosh, yeah, man.
like,
For sure.
like
What I've
yeah,
noticed, like, I never really pay attention to this until maybe since we started doing the podcast regularly and like covering these CEOs. And every single time they always mention their tenure. Like they're always with the company for a very long time, but then they have maybe like less than 5 years as a CEO.
yeah,
So that just goes to show like how demanding it can be.
yeah,
Just traveling,
sure,
and it's mostly like making appearances everywhere. It'll wear you down if you're a family guy, if you're a little bit older too, it's
yeah.
pretty difficult.
It's a huge
So,
time commitment. I mean,
oh yeah.
I think being a CEO or upper management at any Fortune 500 company, it's I'm sure it is definitely probably barely ever have time for family. Um,
Yeah.
and Zoom calls probably isn't enough in a lot of cases, right? Like, you can hop on Zoom for like meetings and whatnot, but I mean, there's some things that probably just require the overhead and the overview of like,
Oh yeah.
physical meetings. So I'm sure it's rather difficult. And but in Jim Ryan's defense, I think it's also, he was, at the brunt of the pandemic and the PS5 launch and then supply chain issues. I'm sure it has felt like 20 years, the last five,
That's a
for him.
good point.
So I mean, I guess I can't entirely blame him. It's one of those things, but yeah, I mean, if he's, especially if he wants to spend more time with his family and everything, it's probably the right call. Um, I
True.
mean, he hasn't mentioned anything here. It makes me wonder if he's going to be on like a board of directors or anything. Like, if he's going to have some foot in the door still to a certain extent. Um,
Oh yeah. I mean,
but
I imagine most CEOs usually go into a smaller company and run that one, or they're some type of professional consultant, probably for the rest of their lives.
yeah,
You know, Anybody that can call them that's within the company will seek advice, and they can charge for that time to the company.
right, yeah, certainly.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
not very mmany CEOs out there that can run a multi-billion dollar, almost basically an industry in a way, because Sony is,
I
like, so game changing.
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly a lot of value you could give. I think still, you know,
Mhm.
it's unfortunate, I guess, to see the step down, but also too. I mean, I'm not saying this is a reason too. He probably stepped down, but the Sony is going to be. Well, they're in the process of entering a very interesting evolution or attempt at one, right? With the cloud gaming and trying to compete with Game Pass and Xbox and
Yeah,
monster
it's
that
not
is
gonna be
that.
easy for them at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be. I have a feeling for Sony, especially, it's going to be a hard like 5 years at least. I'm just kind of trying to get their footing in that and figure out where they kind of stand in the cloud ecosystem. I mean, and with Ubisoft, getting the cloud rights for Microsoft and that deal, and their kind of outlook on seeing what cloud gaming could be. It's certainly going to be probably Sony's next big focus to try and figure out where they'll where they're going to provide kind of value in that space and whatnot. So a lot of stuff to be done there, a lot of research, a lot of kind of ideas that need to be scrounged up. But
Yeah.
also, I mean, from a hardware standpoint, I mean, Mike, why are we making a tablet that I need a console for that I can't take with me anywhere? You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of hardware decisions that I think are rather questionable recently. So it's like, I don't know, there's a lot to
Yeah,
figure out.
I agree with that. I wonder if he could be forced into an early retirement, but having 28 years at a company and traveling and all this demand, I think he's just over it, you know? I mean, that's
Yeah,
what his statement basically says. Just like, "I love Sony, I love PlayStation, it's a great place to be, but, like, I gotta move on," kinda thing.
yeah,
He's got all the fulfillment he can out of it.
yeah. I mean, ultimately, I'm curious to see what he does next, right? I mean, I think I
Yeah.
mean, if it is a true retirement, then yeah, I mean, I hope he gets to spend time with family, kind of just relax for a little bit, give some insight every now and again, give those words of wisdom. Um, but yeah, it's
Yeah.
oh man, it's a sad day for the Sony people, but
It
they fight
it
on
is.
to try and get this cloud streaming stuff under control.
Yeah, I think this next CEO appointment is gonna be probably the most important decision Sony's made in the last, like, 10 years, just because of how far behind they are on cloud gaming, the subscription model in particular, how they've been so heavy on their hardware sales to, like, survive. Not Sony, but, like, PlayStation in particular. I think Sony TVs are fantastic, Sony phones, tablets, pretty much all electronics. They even have a HVAC line, fantastic. But their PlayStation line, that entertainment for gamers, I think is lackluster. The best they got is all their controllers are probably the best. I will say is the best first party controllers you can possibly buy. They're fantastic. But I just like you said, like this streaming tablet that I have to be in my home and connected to the Wi-Fi, like what's the point of that? Like come
Yeah,
out with another PSP, come out with better cloud gaming, make your streaming service better. Like,
yeah,
they need somebody to come in and, like, shake things up big time.
for
I
real.
feel like they're
Yeah,
behind, and it's kind of a shame because PlayStation used to be ahead of the curve on everybody for a very long time,
yeah.
and maybe they got complacent or something? Something
I mean,
happened.
this is the thing. We're towards the end of kind of. I feel like we're towards the end of the console era kind of thing. Like we're moving into PCs, we're moving into streaming, right?
Yeah,
One thing Sony will always have, I think, is that they have the greatest selling console of all time in the PS2. I don't think anyone's
facts.
gonna top that ever. So I mean, that's
Yeah.
but I mean, yeah, and it was. I mean, that was a solid console. It had a huge lifespan. It was ahead of the curve, like you said. So I mean,
Yeah,
and so yeah,
but
there was a point where PlayStation was on top, and now they're like falling to the wayside, and they need to kind of catch up and you know stick with the curve because it's just one of those things.
yeah.
I don't want to see Sony fall behind, but you know, cloud gaming is here,
Yeah,
man. It's here.
I think from, like, a standpoint where we're at right now, they're okay. They're okay. They're
Yeah,
pretty much like with everybody else. But for the future and the decisions that Xbox has been making in particular with their cloud gaming, like they're set for the future for the next 10 years, especially with their Activision Blizzard acquisition that's going to go through. Their Game Pass model is only going to get bigger and going to become more valuable to consumers, which are going to entice people to buy it, which makes Microsoft more money. But then when you look at the PlayStation side of things, I just don't see that there yet. You know, it's like Nintendo. I've said multiple times, Nintendo's kind of its own thing. It has its own niche. It kind of rules the whole handheld market, the handheld slash hybrid console, and their IPs are the same ones you've been playing for the last like 40 years.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
you know what you're getting. You're getting Mario. You're getting Link. Like those two alone, I think, are bigger than the brand of Sony and Xbox. You know, it's like it's kind of nuts,
Yeah.
but Nintendo's its own niche. But PlayStation, I feel like, is they need to catch up and make good decisions in the next couple of years to keep pace with Xbox's model.
They certainly do, man. They certainly do. You got those first party titles, but I mean, and although they're great,
They're fire, absolute fire. You
they're
can't
great,
take that
but
away from them. But how
I
are you
mean,
really going to try to lean
it's,
on that forever?
I mean, one, you can't, but two, like, comes out on PC eventually. You know, I'm not, I'm
True.
not as inclined to buy a console if I could just like, wait a little bit.
Wait,
I will say though,
wait,
dude, I'm
18
like,
months.
I'm a little jealous, and I'm gonna get some FOMO with Spider-Man 2. I ain't gonna lie.
Oh,
like,
oh, dude, I've already seen the Venom highlights, man. Like,
like, I'm gonna get some
yeah,
FOMO there. I'm not gonna lie. Because Spider-Man 1 was it's a fantastic game. I didn't even play Miles Morales, but I mean, I just want to play 2, man. It looks so good. Um,
yeah.
yeah, man, it's
Well,
sad days. Hopefully, best to Jim Ryan, right? But it's ultimately we have to see how Sony responds because I think it'll be important.
yeah, yeah, we're definitely gonna cover it. I think it's probably gonna take them a couple of months to actually choose a CEO. It's not really easy to find one that can run a type of business like this. You got to appease like shareholders and the board of directors. I'm sure Sony has one. I don't know who's on it, but they gotta think about things globally and what the future can bring. But we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah,
Definitely remodel the Sony PS5, please. I mean, it could look better,
okay, yeah, dude.
but
Just like, where's the?
it could.
We need the mid-cycle refresh, which I think is coming, right?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, though we've already seen the rumors with the Xbox cloud gaming devices and next Series X or Series S V2 or whatever they're trying to call it. Scarlet, I think. I don't even remember. Covered it last week, but
I don't remember either. I'm gonna be honest.
my brain stopped working. But I'm looking forward to what Sony comes out and they try to do. Maybe we'll finally get my dream come true. I
I just
can't
love it,
mention it
dude.
every episode,
I
but you know
love
what I
it, dude.
mean.
Just follow this man on Twitter, bro. You'll get a every now and again.
Every now and then, I just randomly post. I'm like, why don't I have a PS5 in my Sony TV yet? Like, it's so easy. Like, I don't get it. The infrastructure's there.
Yeah.
Like,
It's just
make
like
a small form factor PS5 and send it to the factory that makes the TVs.
it's so
Plug it
funny.
together.
Oh, it's so funny to me because I feel like if you said that in a Sony meeting, they would just immediately be like, "Mike, you're the only one that wants that." They're gonna be like,
We've done
we can't
trials
afford
and
it. We can't afford
surveys.
it."
I'm like, well, I'll buy all of them. Fuck. Just give me it.
They're doing market research and like going real deep into the data, and you're just like, just make it, dude. Let's see what the issue is.
Yeah. Like, what's the problem?
Eventually,
Oh,
you're
we're not
just
going to do.
this thing, Mike. Eventually, you just need to make your own, make a YouTube video about it. That'll convince them. Be like, see, I did it with myself. You know.
You know, I have a degree that says I can do that. I don't
just
have
use
the tools,
Google too,
but
you know.
we'll find the tools. We will build it.
Figure out how to cut the PCB on a PS5 to fit in a smaller form factor, like a Wii. That's all you got to do.
That's actually the truth. Yeah. 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 The Wii was a goated console.
I'm saying, and
Oh,
people
that put Nintendo back on the map, bro.
people cut down the Wii PCB so it's small enough to be in like a handheld Game Boy style format. Like, because you could cut it in a specific way and like add additional boards to it, where it was just like a Wii handheld function just like it. It's crazy. It's
You're
wild,
right.
dude. It's crazy the modding community. It's intelligent
Yeah.
people, you know.
They also have some crazy like Raspberry Pi, like the Pocket Pies or whatever they
Yeah.
call them, that has
Yeah.
like every small 8, 16, 32 gigabyte game or whatever.
I mean, there's one guy
Nuts.
with a GameCube, Mike. He
Yeah.
he made like an M.2 loader thing, so you could just load a bunch of ROMs onto an M.2, stick it in the bottom like port of the GameCube, or fired away.
I think we covered that, didn't we, at some point? Or
We
you
might
talked
have.
about it
I don't
in
know.
the
I
intro.
know I talked about it. It's one of those things like
Yeah.
I'm waiting for the official release because like it hasn't really been released
That's
yet.
right.
But
That's yeah.
dude, it'd be fire.
I'm looking forward to covering that when it's actually done.
Yeah,
But
sure.
all right, buddy. I think we actually got done at a reasonable time. I think that's all the articles we got covered for this week.
That's all we got, dude. That's all I got. You know what next week is?
Yeah. Start of the month, right?
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Start of the month. New
Yep.
games to be coming out
New
soon.
games of the month. Yep. We'll cover that. If you guys want to stick around at the end of every episode, at the start of the month, we always cover. I think we usually cover like our top 10 to 15 games that are going to be released.
It depends on the month, right? Some months only
It
have
really
10 to
does.
15 releases, but some months have
Yeah.
way too many. So it's like,
I'll be honest. Some of them I'm over here like, this game that's coming out that I don't know anything about is coming out and people are hyped. You know, it's just like,
yeah, dude, we're at a point right now where it's like, yeah, you have to allocate your time to the best, and then maybe next year you have time for the rest.
that's a fact. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Speaking of the best, using our time wisely, let's go ahead and wrap this up so I can download CS2 and get absolutely destroyed by some kids that are cracked from Valorant coming over, messing me up. I'm too busy playing on my controller on shooters. Too much aim assist, and then now we get switched up to the mouse and keyboard.
Crazy.
But without further ado, do you have anything to add, or was there anything left, Kyle?
I don't got anything, dude. Go. Thank God for watching the clips. I mean, I don't know
Yo,
how many
facts.
people. I don't know how many people made it this far, but like, appreciate the love.
Yeah. These long full length episodes kind of take a while. We know that it's like usually over an hour. I think every episode's been over an hour except for one over the course of like 100 episodes. So the fact anybody makes it to the end, I'll be honest, sometimes I feel like we're just talking to ourselves.
I mean, yeah,
You
I don't
know?
know. Probably are.
But-
Pineapple in the comments if we're not. You know what I'm saying? Oh,
Definitely.
man.
But the clips have been popping off on YouTube, which are
Yeah.
pretty cool to see. And we're seeing comments. We appreciate them. Some of them you're putting us straight, making sure we know what's up. Also, definitely appreciate that. We don't take offense.
Appreciate that. Hey, look.
Yeah, actually
it's-
learning
the
things is key.
The comments are an open forum, right? It's what's on your mind.
It really is. Yeah, half the time we're just speculating out here and hoping for the best.
True.
So,
True.
Yeah. Well, my little thing got all messed up, so I'm gonna let people go. Thank you for tuning in. Timestamps are below for all the articles that we've covered. We also have links. They're tiny URLs. I think they last for at least a month or so. But anything you want to check, we give you the title, we give you the author and the platform where it is. So go check them out, show them support as well. If you want to talk to us, we're on Twitter, X, I guess now, all social media. We got Discord if you want to come in there and start yelling at us. That's cool. If not, whatever. We're just hanging out. We appreciate your time. I'm Michael Anthony, Kyle Heath, M2 Podcast. Thank you for coming in.
Thanks for
Peace
listening,
out.
everyone. Bye.
See you.